Are you trying to tell me that this is your act?
When you go to the theatre, despite having sworn you'd never go again the last time you went, and it was boring and expensive and a giant letdown, like the last time you went, you'll persuade yourself that you had a good time because you invested so much in it. The more something costs, the more we like to think we enjoy it. It mitigates against feeling foolish, having made such a mistake again. It's the same with children. Parents kid themselves that their offspring are enhancing their lives because of the cost. The clothes, the food, the tantrums, the lack of sleep, the lost liberty. In reality, marriage works best when there are no children. Which isn't to say that there's anything wrong with marriage, far from it. Married people are happier, healthier, and live longer than singletons. It's just the kids that ruin it all. Happiness only comes when the children grow up and leave. Everything from birth to flying the nest just brings parents down. Teenage years are a particular problem, so why not marry your children off at 13 years old? This is what a nice lady in the East End has done to her daughter, who is now the proud wife of a 14-year-old boy. They are from gypsy stock, and the two children have been thrust together after their parents struck a deal, and can hardly believe their good fortune. It must be all that lucky Heather. The children's mother, who, in a perfect reflection of Trisha's Britain, lives in a 2-bedroom terrace house with 14 relatives, is on benefits and is having her 6th child, says she ain't bothered what anyone thinks. What a newsflash! I'll decide if my 13-year-old daughter is old enough to marry, she says. It sounds as though her own experience of the sacred union has been so unutterly lovely that she can't wait for her brood to experience the joys of married life themselves. And really, that's the greatest gift of all. Someone should write a play about her. Except no one puts on plays anymore. I can't see her life as a musical. Maybe an opera. It specialises in tragedy. That she would say, I ain't bothered. Like, I'm no great fan of, what's her name? What's her name? The I ain't bothered lady?
Catherine Tate.
Catherine Tate, yeah, because it's that catchphrase comedy, which is the easiest comedy in the world. You just have to write one show and then just repeat it, and everyone thinks you're a genius. But she came up with I ain't bothered, and for that woman to actually say that is priceless.
You'd hope it was ironic, but you know it's not.
No. The gypsy mother who forced her daughter of 13 to marry a 14-year-old boy yesterday dismissed British values as irrelevant to her. Guess where she lives? That's right, Britain. Renata. Hey, it's Renata.
It's in Renee Anne.
Exactly. I needed a Renee after I finished reading this story. She said that she was unconcerned by the outrage over the teenager's Romany wedding at a ceremony in a pub. Oh, how romantic, in East London. Renata, 31, who's pregnant with her 6th child. 6 children. Oh, blimey.
Mustn't judge.
She must be religious. Mustn't judge?
I know, I'm clutching at straws.
I'll tell you what, I will judge. There you go. I'll go out on a limb. I'll guess what the nice ladies and gentlemen at home are thinking, and just reflect their thoughts. Oh, a nice cup of tea. She says, I'll be the one... Oh, I read that bit. Her daughter... Well, it's not funny. Her daughter's called Bozina. She's married to Bezzo. It's Bezzo and Bozina.
Again, mustn't judge.
Bezzo and Bozina.
It's a bit like Renee and Renata, isn't it, in its own way?
Yeah. They're so cute together. There's a picture of them, and they look petrified for a start. They don't look like they're having a very nice time. But of course, in the very next second, they could have been laughing their faces off. But in the snap that they got in the picture, they look as though they're a little bit overwhelmed. But a cute couple nonetheless. If you'd told me that she was 20 and he was 21, I'd have believed you. Her daughter, Bozina, married Bezzo, the son of another gypsy family, originally from Poland, in front of 150 guests at the Central Pub in East Ham. Bozina continues to share a cramped 2-bedroom terraced ass in East Ham with 14 relatives. Truth, 2 bedrooms. How many bathrooms can a 2-bedroom house have? 1, 2 at the most. 1 bathroom and 1 toilet with a little sink. 14 people. What must morning be like in that household? Good grief. I'll tell you what would be a good idea. Why don't I have another baby? Oh, it's people's lives. Don't laugh. Bozina continues to share a cramped two-bedroom terraced house as well. Oh, the neighbours must be thrilled. Will you keep that noise down in there? I ain't doing nothing. With 14 relatives, her parents do not make her or any of her siblings go to school. Of course not. Why would they want to do something as foolish and time-wasting as go to school? Neighbours say the family who live on benefits and do not pay rent. Do not pay rent? Well, how do they live there if they don't pay rent then? Are terrorising the street by playing loud music late at night, throwing rubbish into neighbours' gardens and spitting on their windows. Oh, charming. Loud music late at night. Turn that racket down. Romania and Poland, which have large Romani Gypsy or Roma populations, have taken a tough stance on such weddings by threatening prosecutions on underage sex charges. This has led to concerns that they may move to the UK instead. Hurrah! They married on April the 28th after a deal struck between their fathers soon after they arrived in Britain 3 years ago. Often girls are promised to a boy from the age of 7 or 8 in return for cash. It's considered essential that the girl is a virgin. It is the true essence of romance. What a lovely story. Here is Gray's. Ronnie.
Hello, mate.
Yes, Ronnie.
Listen, you think that's bad?
Go on.
I know a 26-year-old who's got 10 kids.
10?
10 children. She's not a Romani.
She must be exhausted.
Hold on, she's not a Romani. She's a very attractive girl, right? She's not a Romani, but all her friends are. And they've got 10 different fathers.
She needs her own TV show.
Honestly, she's Trisha, isn't she? She's Jeremy Cole. Yeah, she's got... So you think that's bad? Getting married... God knows what age she started to get pregnant at. I don't know. I didn't live in the area at the time. But I know she spends Friday and Saturday night in my local, because whenever I go in on a Friday or Saturday, and I can't afford both nights, she's always in there.
Always there, yeah. Always there, always pregnant.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. 10 different fathers. And she actually brags that I get so much money off the DHSS. She went, it's like living in luxury. She's got a house that's knocked into two to make sure it was big enough.
Right, because that would be... otherwise it would be abusing her human rights, or...
Of course, yeah. I mean, not abusing my human rights. I have to do over 100 hours a week to pay for 2 houses.
Yes.
That's not abusing my human rights.
No.
Because I've got to pay for her.
That's right. You, me, and everybody listening to this.
Oh, yeah. But, isn't it unbelievable? You're talking at 30. Well, how many kids she can have by the time she's 30?
Well, let's add it up, shall we? It'll be like 36. She's got no time to lose.
Go on, then.
I hope she's not listening to the radio. She's got no time to lose. You get on with it, dear.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, the things we put up with in this country are absolutely unbelievable. Hold on, isn't it against the law for her to get married at 13?
Yeah, you would think so.
And I know the Central Pub because I'm from Canning Town. I know the Central Arms.
Now, they're saying that it's not actually recognised by law, because she has to be, 18?
16, isn't it?
Is it 16?
16
was that a Gretna Green thing?
No.
All right.
16 with parents' consent.
OK. So it's not recognised in law, but then they don't recognise the law, so no problem there.
Yes, true, that's very true, because I know quite a few of them. I used to have a few second-hand shops in East London, and I used to buy some three-piece weights and bits and pieces off of them. And not one of them's got a driving licence.
Well, what do you want?
One of them knew what paying tax was about.
Yeah, what do you want a driving licence for?
That's just a white van, isn't it?
Tax? That just drags you down.
Yeah, I mean, it's only things that other people have to pay.
Yeah. And the more we're talking, Ronnie, the more I feel that we're the mugs.
Oh, excuse me, what do you mean, the more you feel with... We are the mugs.
Oh, yeah, that's right, I got that part wrong, yeah.
Yeah, you got that, and don't feel it, we are the mugs. I mean, I'm working in Barking at the moment, right, and I'm watching the what I call the two Bobbies, yeah, walking past.
Yes.
Right? But even they're paying tax. But I watch loads and loads of people walking past me now that I know have never seen a job ever in their life. And what do they complain about? Oh, it's the Poles and the Bosnians coming to our jobs. But you don't want one.
That's an interesting point of view. Ronnie, you keep on being outraged on our behalf. All right, mate.
Hold on, mate, can I tell you one thing?
Oh, I'll have to be brief.
A little funny.
Go on.
A little funny. There's a toilet on my building site I'm working on, yeah? And it turns around and says, throw the toilet things, the paper in the things. And someone's writing it, can't you read English? And they went, no, because the English don't work. I just love it. They're all Bosnians and Poles on it.
You've got to have a laugh, ain't you, Ronnie? I've got to go, mate. It's 0845 6060 973. Speaking of 13-year-old children, by the way, a lad of 13 used his dad's credit card to hire 2 prostitutes as part of a £15,000 spending spree. 13. But rather than have sex with the girls, Ralph Hardy and a pal challenged them to a game of Halo on their Xbox.
What?
Motel staff called cops when Hardy asked where he could, quotes, score chicks. 13. When asked about his age, he said he was vertically challenged and an adult from a circus. He was charged with fraud. He is a genius. In 20 years' time, he'll be President of the United States of America.
Absolutely.
7:45. LBC Travel with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. Massive problem still...
So I'm curious about this because I was a child myself once. Were you?
A long time ago.
Long time ago, yeah. That children actually ruin marriage because previously you'd thought that people got married in order to have children, and it was, a blessed gift to them. The stork would fly in and suddenly there'd be smiles all round. But apparently it's completely the other way around. So I wonder if there's anybody that has ever been married or knows someone who's been married or was once a child themselves who listens to this show. What are the odds?
But you're really casting that fairly narrow, there.
Very narrow, yeah. It's like line caught rather than we're trawling with nets. We're organic. Married life is the key to happiness, but having children can ruin it all, a psychologist claimed. Oh, blimey, psychologist. Should have known. Couples only recover their blissful existence once their blissful existence, as though everyone... As though, people who are without children are constantly, hand in hand, skipping in slow motion through fields of daisies. Couples only recover their blissful existence once their offspring have left the nest, says Professor Dan, a psychology professor at Harvard University. Oh, Harvard. Ooh, very prestigious. He must know a thing or two.
Professor Dan sounds like a cartoon character, though.
Yeah, Dan, the professorial man, yeah. He told a conference in Sydney... Yeah? That studies in America and Europe had shown that feelings of contentment spike during the early years of marriage. Well, yeah, I would think so. But fall heavily after having children. Like, I won't say it. What time is it? 10 to 8. I'll say it after 9. Professor Gilbert said that a desire by couples to get a return on the time and money they've invested in their children is part of the reason they persuade themselves that their offspring are enhancing their lives. Does this ring any bells at home? Would anybody be prepared? You don't have to give your own name. Your children are already... They're probably not listening to this right now. You can speak the truth. 0845 6060 973 if you want to... It would be a cathartic unburdening. You'd feel lighter if you told me.
Let's see if we can destroy a family by 10.
Sure, why not? It's Jeremy Kyle makes a living out of it. Why can't I? Figures show that married people are, in almost every way, happier than unmarried people, whether they're single, divorced, or cohabiting. That's weird. Cohabiting? Well, what's the difference between cohabiting and marriage? What would be... Well, if two people are cohabiting, then presumably all the benefits of marriage, the happiness part, the healthier part because you've got somebody looking after you, the part that you're not lonely, all of those things would be experienced by cohabiting people as well as married people. And the only difference is some sort of legal status in law. Which, the argument would run, or would have run, if we were talking in the 1950s, that, of course, it's the steadiness of marriage, it's the certainty about the future, but more than half of marriages now end in divorce, don't they? Isn't it more than half now? I think if we'd had this conversation even 10 years ago, it would have been 1 out of 3. Now I think it's more than half. So there is no stability in marriage anymore. It's like it's till death do us part, or whatever. That's actually what the new ceremony is says when you write to your when you put your cross in the book, because most of them can't write. Thanks to record investment in our education by this tremendous government. There's a thing in the Sun today. Blimey, are the vultures circling Gordon Brown? What a torrid time he's having. I almost feel sorry for him. Almost. Anyway, back to this. Not one single person is prepared to tell us about the blight that their children have put on their lives, or otherwise. Because, of course, we must take all opinions on this show. We are nothing if not balanced. People are extremely happy before they have children, it's say, and then their happiness goes down. And it takes another big hit when kids reach adolescence. Oh, it's so unfair, I hate you. It comes back to the original baseline about the time the children grow up and go away. So, the part at the beginning, where you haven't got kids, where you've just been married, blissfully happy. You found the one, the person that will you'll spend the rest of your life with, or until someone that you fancy more comes along. And then you have children, and then it all goes wrong. But parents kid themselves that that's not the case, well, when they're in the maelstrom of child-rearing. Because it costs so much, and it has cost, not just monetarily, but in the, as far as how their lives are run, that they, that to admit that it isn't sweet and light would be just too painful. So they shut those thoughts away and pretend that it's actually the great purpose of their life. I mean, really, they're just carrying out the sort of inbuilt procreation of, or renewal of the species, whatever that word is that I'm looking for, the continuation of the species. It's in us and it has to come out, and there's nothing we can do about it. And so while we're labouring for the benefit of the species, we convince ourselves that it's actually great. In fact, it's a horror show. Not one single person is prepared to even discuss this with me. Can you believe that? Every parent's holding their head in their hands going, no, it ain't true, I'm not listening.
It's the great unspoken secret, isn't it?
Well, it's, it's a taboo. Almost thought I was never going to be able to reach that word. It was way down in the depths of my mind. Taboo. It is a great unspoken taboo. You can't say that you don't love... I'm not saying that you don't love your children, it's that you love having them. There is a difference, isn't there? It would be nice if you could... If like, you could switch them off, put them in a cupboard. Oh, no, someone's already tried that in Austria. It would be nice if if all the problems associated with them didn't, like a dog, you know, like a wind-up dog would be much better than an actual dog, which, come to find out, will cost you 80 grand over the course of its lifetime. And the more annoying the dog, the more it costs. The most expensive dog of all, a Chihuahua. What, a Chihuahua? Wow, a Chihuahua? How do you say it? Chihuahua.
You've done that thing now where you're never going to be able to say it.
Chihuahua.
Chihuahua.
Wow. Chihuahua.
No.
I mean, there's tiny little things. You could, like most ladies, hang them off their charm bracelets. They're so small. You literally put them in your handbag or purse.
I've seen earrings smaller.
Exactly. Yeah, and the smaller and the yappier the dog, the thinner and the more brittle its owner. Like Paris Hilton, perfect example. She has a Chihuahua, and it costs 4 times as much as a proper dog to keep. Which I really don't understand at all. And one of the explanations was, I've got very far away from marriage and children. Now, you'll have to we'll let a string out behind us as we wend our way through this show so we can find our way back again to discover what it was that we were talking about in the first place. I want you to write that down, I have to come back to marriage.
Can I type it? Is that all right?
You could type it, you can write it in, you're not typing, you're just clacking.
Atmosphere. Sound effects.
Oh, sound effects. No, I don't like sound effects. Yes, bizarre that the smaller and more yappy and irritating the dog, the more it costs to run. I think they said something like a Jack Russell, which is a proper small dog, and you wouldn't really want to go smaller, otherwise people will laugh at you in public. It costs about 20 grand. A lab is something like 30, 40,000, something like that. A Chihuahua, 80 grand during the course of its life. I mean, or you could just put it in a bag and toss it in the river, and then it'd be significantly cheaper. We do not suggest that you do that. That was a terrible thing for me to say. I lost my mind just for a moment there. I love dogs, really. Did you see the picture of that cow in the paper today? Good grief, it was huge. It was about, and I'm not making this up, 30 feet high. It wasn't it, but it was significantly taller than the person who was standing next to it. It was about 10 foot high, this cow, or 12 foot. It was, I've never seen a cow that big in my life. It weighed over, I think it weighed 2 tons, something like that. It was the cow that you didn't want to run into on the country road late at night. Because even if you were driving a Hummer, you'd come off worse. It's the biggest cow I've ever seen in my life. And apparently it was an orphan. It was left on somebody's doorstep. It would have to be a significantly reinforced doorstep to leave it on there now. A 2-ton cow. Ooh, so yummy.
The numbers have been counted.
Extremely well.
You bet your life it is. I'll be talking to Joe Parkinson, our show business editor, about that new film, Sex and the City. No one is giving away the plot. Oh well, let's have a wild stab in the dark. It'll be talking and talking and talking and talking.
Boring.
That sounds fascinating. And women will be talking about aging and men and shoes. And then everyone has a cocktail, and that's it. Oh, Struth, spare me the pain. Anyway, Joe loves it. She absolutely flat out loves it. Here, Abby, do you like Sex and the City?
I absolutely love it.
See? You look like you should be in Sex and the City.
Oh, thanks.
Such a crawler.
Here's Elton. Hello, Phil.
Hi, Nick. Hi.
Phil, I'm good, thanks.
Good. Yeah, I'm giving it to us. You know Alex and Raj? Well, Alex in particular. Has he gone to another show, may I ask?
Alex is on at the weekend, isn't he? Yeah, Alex is enjoying a life of leisure. He only works 2 days a week. God,
Oh, right.
Blimey.
Okay, and Raj is on holiday, is he? Or-
Raj is doing the breakfast show today.
Oh, right.
How people are missed.
Yeah, I was just curious, you know. Yeah. 'Cause,
Our current team not doing it for you?
it's not that. It's just Alex is so laid back. It makes me laugh, you know.
Yeah, he was like, I would class him, if you had to pick a children's television character, to, all of the people on the station, if we put them all in the terms of kids' TV, he was definitely Dylan the Rabbit.
Groovy.
Magic Roundabout.
Yeah, it's just a very relaxed guy. Kind of very
Yeah.
funny, great humour.
Lucy, by the way, who I used to do
Yeah.
a show with at the weekend, she'd be Ermintrude.
A one-ton girl.
Just kidding, Luce.
Yeah, by the way, Nick, your dog thing,
Yes.
there's a company now where you can hire a dog. So
Brilliant idea. Because I do appreciate that pets, being around pets does have health benefits. When I cat sit for my parents when they go on holiday, I love having a cat. I don't want one because every piece of furniture in their entire house is covered by about 1 foot of cat hair. You can't see the colour of anything anymore. Everything is the colour of the cat. And I don't want that for my house. But I appreciate, giving constant cat strokes. Attention is what it wants. Meow when you stop stroking it. For even a second, meow it goes. And so, by giving the cat pleasure, you, by osmosis, absorb pleasure yourself.
I would do.
Something
I'm
like
allergic. I'm allergic to cats.
Allergic to cats, righto.
So I'll strike that one off the list, if you
Yeah.
don't mind.
How about a bird?
Not too bad with budgies.
Budgies. The thing with budgies is they answer back, don't they?
You're thinking the parrots, aren't you?
Yeah, like I said, parrots, budgies, who can tell the difference? They fly, they poop, they're the same.
Just sit there looking bored most of the time.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, cycling in London.
cycling in London.
Yeah, now the weather's nice. I've started cycling to work.
That sounds like a very bad idea.
But no, the routes I take is sort of mainly off-road.
Right.
Sort of, like shared footways and sort of
Cycle lanes,
and,
yeah.
yeah, sort of cycle paths, and it's absolutely awesome in this weather.
I don't know. I mean, I thought that didn't they just a little while ago give out a warning for people not to do exercise outside because of the smog? Already, it's May, and already we have smog.
Yeah. Well, I'm not like doing it around the city, too much. I'm coming in from Elton, so most of the trip is smog free.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But something you like, Nick. Guess I'll give you. In order, because you like your list, don't you?
Oh, all blokes do?
No, to do with cycling. You know you like lists.
Yeah.
Top 3 annoyances when you're riding a push bike. Do you want to do that, or not really?
Top 3 annoyances when you're riding a push bike. No, well, it sounds like you already have them for me, so I don't need to ask. Go ahead. Top 3 annoyances, in reverse order. Number 3.
Number 3 is pedestrians who are about to cross the road without looking in your direction.
Right, well, okay, go on. I'll give an answer to all of these at the end. Go ahead.
Okay. I know you're about to throttle me because I'm a cyclist, so anyway. Number 2 is kids on bikes.
Kids on bikes?
Who randomly sort of ride alongside you for a bit.
Yeah, just drifting around. They've got no... and you only really notice them when they're bouncing off your bonnet, yes.
And, but the number 1 thing is hoodies on bikes. And they're the sort of worst, to be honest.
Well, they can't see they can see only where they're going. They've got blinkers on. They can't see to the left or the right, and they certainly can't see behind them, even if they twist their face around, because they're wearing a hood. Yeah.
Right, for peripheral vision.
All right, well, as far as pedestrians stepping out into the road without seeing you coming, who always has the right of way?
Pedestrians.
Pedestrians always have the right of way. Yes.
Hence, I ring my bell and yield to them.
Oh, you got a little bell, have you?
Yeah.
Do you unscrew it like they do in Holland? Because if you like a bell that's screwed down has a very sort of upright Prime of Miss Jean Brodie tone to it. It's a very tring sound. Whereas if you unscrew it like they do in Holland, because they're very casual and casual and laid back,
Yowza.
then it has a more of a sort of like a hippie kind of a polite. It makes it more polite rather than like
out of the way.
No, it's a tring of a screwed-in tight bell has a get out of the way.
Yeah.
Right, it's rather impertinent, I find. This is the bicycle equivalent of a horn. People are using their horns a lot these days. Have you noticed that? People are using their horns all the time. I suppose it's a halfway house between giving someone the finger and shooting them. So I suppose we should be grateful.
I suppose what your bell is like a cowbell version on a bike.
Well, I haven't got a bike. But in Holland, it's a more laid-back ring sound. It's like, well, man, I'm like, would you mind, like, please get out of the way, rather than get out of the way.
No.
So unscrew your bell a bit and just be more relaxed.
Yeah.
But watch for cars, because we can't see you.
No, I know, but...
We're busy. We're busy scratching ourselves. We're busy having a fag. We're busy shouting at the radio. We're busy opening a bottle of beer with our teeth. We've got a lot of things on our mind, and the last thing we're looking for is a bicycle. Yeah, because we're only really going to pay attention to things that can hurt us personally. Like lorries, buses, get a lot of attention from people in cars. Those little battery-powered cars, we can't see those either.
Yeah. The one thing I'll recommend, Nick, if anyone's looking to start cycling, is definitely do some sort of training. Because I've got I did motorcycle license as well as I've got, did cycling proficiency as a kid. It's so worth it, I know it sounds obvious, but little things like looking over your shoulder, you know what I mean, and just being aware of other vehicles. It's so much safer that way.
Right. Cycling proficiency test. They still do those?
Well, even if they don't, just go to your local... can I name an organisation, just as an example?
Sure, why not? AA?
If you just Google Greenwich Cyclists, if you live in Greenwich, obviously.
And they'll teach you how to ride a bike?
Yeah, and it's all free.
Without dying, yeah.
Exactly.
Boris Johnson should go and have a quick peek.
Yeah.
He was named and shamed in the papers today for going through red lights and riding on pavements and going over a zebra crossing while someone was on it. So what? Everybody on a bike does that. I mean, I'll tell you what, a thing that irritates me about being in a car and having to stop and start and stop and start all the time, you'll be driving along on a completely straight and empty road, and you'll come up to one of those pedestrian crossings, and there won't have been anybody that tripped the light, but because you're coming up to it at, say, 32 miles an hour instead of 30, it will recognise that and stop you, thereby ruining the planet. Because you're having to apply the brakes and then to move off again from 0, rather than maintain a steady 30. If you want to actually make a difference and do your bit to protect the environment, always maintain a steady 30 miles an hour. Whether people are careening off your bumpers or you're flattening cyclists in your way, don't stop for red lights or anything.
Just keep going.
Yeah, that's right. That's what... what's his name that used to want to be the President of the United States of America?
Absolutely.
What's his name?
The guy who...
The Inconvenient Truth Man, whatever his name is. I can never remember what that man's name is from one day to the next. What is wrong with me?
Al Gore?
Al Gore! That's the fella, yeah.
The one who went on a jumbo jet all over the world to talk about plane emissions.
Yeah, the one who has a house with 52 different rooms in it, which is lighted and heated at all times. Yeah, that guy, yeah. Phil, thanks very much. Keep an eye out for me, because I won't keep an eye out for you. Cheers. I saw the first example of one of those smog masks. You remember a few years ago everyone was cycling around in one of those neoprene smog masks? I think mostly because people wanted to go into a shop and ask for something with neoprene in it. Because it had a certain, nature of it. That must have been looks like the most uncomfortable thing that any human could ever wear, up to and including a jockstrap. A neoprene face mask. How sweaty must your nose and your mouth get under one of those? And does it actually work? And for one summer, everyone was wearing them. It looked like Tokyo out there. And then nobody wore them. I think people thought, hang on a minute, you know what, this is ridiculous. I don't care if I do die. I'm not going to go around wearing this thing. It makes me look like an alien. I saw one today. I felt like stopping the guy and asking him how he felt, but once you got up to speed on a bicycle, you don't want to stop, right? Because unlike a car, where you just have to depress the pedal and pay for it later, you have to pay for it immediately on a bike. If you stop and have to set off again. Anyway, this isn't what we were talking about at all. Can we even remember? How on earth did we get onto this? Nobody has a clue. 8:15. LBC Travel with Helen Austin.
Thank you very much. Well, the
Hi, honey. How are you?
I'm super. Thanks for asking. Oh, by the way, the people who are on the M20, there's been a crash there. You'll be there for the rest of your lives. Here's a story about road chiefs being slammed for a 3-hour jam on the M4 for almost nothing at all. Like a lorry overturned and there's a diesel spillage and then another accident as well. You'll be spending Christmas there. Motoring groups today attacked the Highways Agency after thousands of commuters were left sweltering in their cars for hours after a rush-hour accident. This happened just a couple of days ago. Emergency services and contractors took almost 3 hours to clear debris left when a van carrying marble slabs ploughed into a car, leaving the car driver needing hospital treatment. OK, well, that's very unfortunate. You got a bit of marble on the road, maybe like a bit of glass from a wing mirror, something like that. You could have cleared that up. You could have got one of the Polish cleaners that works in this building could have cleaned that up in about 2 minutes. Dozens of slabs were left strewn across the westbound highway, the carriageway rather, of the M4 in Chiswick at 5:40 p.m. on Friday. 8-mile tailbacks caused chaos to the elevated section of the A4, and roads back to Hyde Park became gridlocked. From Chiswick to Hyde Park, totally stationary traffic. And people are and the Highways Agency, you know, the people who are charged with making traffic run smoothly, they're just wandering around with their clipboards and their high visibility jackets going, tricky. And then they'll go for tea or catch a movie or whatever the hell it is they do. No one has any idea. Sheila, a spokesman for the RAC Foundation, says it's vital that such important arteries are cleared as quickly as possible. Well, duh. Neil Gregg from the Institute of Advanced Motorists says you cannot get a more clear example of a road that needs clearing quickly than the M4 leaving London on a busy Friday night. When on any evening is the M4 a breeze. In fact, the Westway going out of town is always a nightmare. Unless you live in London and you work in Reading, which is the only sensible commute, isn't it? Then it's Clearway all the way. The Highways Agency still hasn't cracked the problem of spilled loads and broken down HGVs. We still seem to have an issue, despite the fact that we have been having repeated incidents for years and years. A spokesman for the Highways Agency said, "It happened at the worst time of the day. We did set up a diversion on the A4, which runs parallel to the motorway, but that got busy as well because of the time of day." Well, of course it blooming well did. Stupid. It was Friday night. Of course the A4 was busy. Struth. Just clear the road. Take a few photographs. Get the ambulance in there. Get the bloke, carted off to hospital. Shunt the car onto the hard shoulder and get the cars moving again. But no, that seems to be the last thing they're thinking about. And any time you drive around London and it seems fair and easy. We haven't had a major hold-up in the west of London, which is where we are right here, for since before Christmas, really. I mean, I know there's been some problems on around sort of Shepherd's Bush Green and that if you like come the Hammersmith way, but the route to here, touching wood, let's hope it's not plastic laminate, has been fairly easy since before Christmas. The last major blockage I can remember was before Christmas, but all it takes is one little shunt and the entirety of West London grinds to a halt. So it's almost as though we're teetering on the very brink of disaster all the time, as though you had your heels rocking backwards with your back to a cliff and you're waving your arms frantically in circles trying to maintain your balance. That's what life is like on London's roads. At any given time, disaster could overtake us and we'll be sitting here from now until your next birthday. Those people on the M20... Your wife can put the dinner in the dog. You ain't getting any. So, people have been saying that forever and ever and a day, and maybe Bojo, our new mayor, Boris Johnson, he will fix that, because that's surely in his remit. He could bang heads together. Maybe should be one of the questions that Nick Ferrari will ask him tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. 'Twill be entertaining, because now I suppose the shackles aren't off exactly, but they will be loosened, perhaps, on Bojo. He could, speak his mind, crack a few gags, be like, the Bojo that we know and love. Apparently he gets mobbed wherever he goes. Now, his PR people said that he had to put an extra 10 minutes on his journey just because people treat him like a rock star and they want autographs. Nice story.
Was that because he's now stopping at the red lights?
No, this is when he's on public transport. Presumably when he's on a bicycle, everybody ignores him. Well, they don't... be on a bicycle... Become invisible. Nobody sees you, particularly if you're in a car. I'm telling you, that's the truth. So don't be shouting at us and banging our bonnets when we cut you up. We can't see you. I hope I don't hit one going home, because they'll have a recording of this, and they say, "Well, as you said on that show." I have to be extra specially careful.
You're always careful, I'm sure.
I'll remove my number plates from the car before I go home,
I'll
just
wipe
in
the
case.
tape, don't worry.
Yeah, okay. Here is Colin Sheffield. Jessica.
Hello, Nick.
Jessica.
Nick, I was just wondering what you thought about the 50-metre white horse that's supposed to represent...
Yes.
You're welcome to the south.
Right, it's Ebbs Fleet, isn't it, that they're putting that in? That's the sort of stop before France on the train.
Yeah.
And
what a welcome.
Well, they had, didn't have some sort of consultation in much the same way as the extra plinth in Trafalgar Square went up for a public vote. Oh, I do hope the public didn't vote for the meerkats. That would be so irritating. Not just because they're meerkats, that's bad enough, but because Tracy Bloomin' Emin designed them, in inverted commas. I'm waving my fingers in the air to denote that I don't really think that she designed anything. She just says, "Oh, I don't know, give us a couple of meerkats," like that.
Yeah, well, I voted for Tracy's installation, but
You voted for the meerkats?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, that's pathetic, Jessica.
Sorry.
Just because they're cute?
Well, it's not as pathetic as a 50-metre white horse.
No, I think that that's an excellent idea.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do. I think it's going to look great, because from a distance, everybody, I've got to get that. I'll have to download it, but is it worth 79p?
No.
Well, I thought that the whole thing, I was astonished to find that we were actually funding it. I thought it was like a private endeavour, funded by, like, Barclays or somebody. But,
what, without mentioning the brand names? Barclays, you say? Yes.
I heard...
Would it be the Nationwide? Or who does the horse? Lloyd's.
Anybody.
They've been peddling that logo for probably the entire time I've lived, and I still thought that it was their main competitor's logo.
Well, it's a very weak connection to the horse.
Yeah, none at all, really. Yeah.
I think it's got something to do with somebody called Horsa, who apparently was an Anglo-Saxon that landed in Ebbsfleet or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, essentially, it's kind of the equivalent of Anthony Gormley's Angel of the North.
But much nicer to look at.
Yeah, well, actually, you know what? Have you seen that in real life?
No, I haven't, but from pictures, it does look a bit like a Nazi insignia.
Yeah, but in real life, it's actually quite powerful.
Well, I bet it was, because it's big.
Yeah, exactly, it's big. But this is about as big as Nelson's column.
Yes. Well, I see, what I was going to say was, from a distance, it'll just look like a horse. You'll be pointing out the train window, zooming along at, well, because it's England, it'll be like 5-10 miles an hour, something like that, grinding to a halt as soon as it comes through the tunnel. And you'll think, oh, there's a horse over there. And then you get a little bit nearer and you think, that's a pretty big horse. And then nearer and nearer, and the train actually goes through its legs.
But actually, this story has been around for about a week. I was going to call you about it last week, but I didn't get a chance.
What, busy, were you?
Brian Sewell was talking to Nick Ferrari about it this morning.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I can't honestly take anything that Brian Sewell says seriously.
Seriously, because of the way he says it. Yeah, I know. I interviewed him once. I asked him an impertinent question. I said, do you really speak like that? And he said, well, of course I do.
Yeah, I mean, surely someone can't put it on for that long. But he was suitably dismissive. I mean, he had a point where he said, actually, when something's this big, it becomes engineering. It's not actually art.
Right.
And you can actually go and see these kind of things. And I'm the kind of person, when the kind of things came up for the Fourth Prince, I went to see them at the National Gallery. I wanted to express an opinion.
Yes.
And
even though your opinion was worthless, Jessica, because you voted for the meerkats.
Yeah.
Shame on you. Yeah.
But this time it's down at Blue Water. I mean, honestly, I'm interested, but not that interested to go down to Blue Water to check it out.
Yes. The centre of the art world, Blue Water, yeah.
It's quite a strange thing. I mean, all the things are really weird.
What else was there?
Well, there was a mountain.
A what?
A mountain.
A mountain?
Yeah, a mountain that had got a house inside it.
What?
And a strange kind of steel carbuncle.
Oh, a steel carbuncle. I like the sound of that.
Yeah. But all of these things, I mean, the fact that this story has been around for about a week and we're only talking about it tonight says how uninterested we are about it.
Well, people aren't interested...
£2 million for it.
How much?
£2 million.
Right.
That's what it's going to take. That's the budget for this kind of project.
Right. Did they dig Stubbs up? Is he knocking this up? £2 million quid?
I would love the government to give us a form every year where we can say, I don't want my taxes to go against this, this, or this. I'd like to give it all to sort of Celia Hammond's cat sanctuary. But unfortunately, that's not an opportunity that's afforded.
No, unfortunately not, no.
But
I think the horse is a great idea. I like it. I like the look of it. I like the idea of it. It's a talking point. Because you're coming from France on the train, I don't know about you, but on that train, I like to drink a lot.
Yeah.
And as you're drunk and you're staring out the window, you're staring out the window and then looking at the bottle of wine you got, and you're staring out the window and you're looking at and you think, maybe I should just give up the drink.
But surely they can come up with something better to represent the South. I mean, I would go for a big pound sign. Just a big solid steel pound sign. Or one of those old kind of cash registers that you get in shops in sort of northern, remote sort of villages where you can
a 50-foot high cash register, yeah.
And guns in the same place.
Or maybe a post office with a closed sign on it.
It's a really weird thing. And at the moment, I've got a cousin over here from Canada. I mean, obviously Canada is the most boring country in the world.
Hey?
But even he's acknowledged that that's kind of a dull idea to welcome people to to the South.
Did you ask him what he thought about it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's just amazed that we've got page 3, breakfast in a BAP, and gravy with everything. So to kind of...
Yeah, talking of BAPs, page 3, yes.
Yeah, to take on board a 50-metre horse is a big, huge leap, really, for anybody.
Right, well, a 50-metre horse really could do a big, huge leap.
But what a waste of money.
I think it's great, Jessica. For someone who voted for silly meerkats, then I think you're protesting too much.
No, you know what? If Tracy Emin hadn't come up with that option, you'd be all in favour of it.
No, I wouldn't, because it's just too cute and populist. There's no thought required. Oh, I don't know, what's on TV? Oh, they always have the meerkats. I'll do that.
Well, there's nothing cute and populist about a 50-metre horse, in my opinion.
No, you're right. Particularly the waste product that it leaves behind. Can you imagine? Jessica, I've got to go. This is LBC 97.3.
Anybody care what this guy thinks?
No!
Here's Colin Barnett. Hello, Mirelle Marbell.
Hello, Nick. How you doing?
All right, thanks.
Good, good. You enjoying this lovely weather?
I'm seeing Precious Little of it, 'cause I'm working all the time.
Oh, no. People have been on moaning that it's too hot. I think it's wonderful.
People have been moaning it's too hot. Who?
Yeah, well,
Name them and shame them.
Some of Clive's callers last night were saying it's so hot, and I'm thinking, we've been drowning in rain for 3 months.
How can you call a radio show in this fantastic weather and say, I don't like it?
Well, he did ask people to call. I mean, he said, call and say what you think of the weather.
Right.
So he did put the wheel in motion.
Okay.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'm calling about, Nick. I don't know if you remember a few weeks ago, I think it's Holland, where you said they don't have traffic lights but the cars stop.
It's a great experiment in Holland by removing all of the, what they comically call street furniture, the signs, the pavements, all of that stuff, making the entire surface level, not drawing any lines on the road or anything. So it looks as though, to a driver, you're driving on a giant pavement, because there's no differentiation between where the people walk and where the cars go. And, perversely, accidents have gone down. Now, you think that all of these, the signs and the lines and the don't do this and don't do that, are actually there to protect us. But what the thought is they put drivers into a false sense of security because they are, obeying these traffic signs, and they don't look for actual people. But if you remove all of that stuff, which makes the streets look nicer, for a start, then drivers slow down and pay more attention, and fatal accidents have dropped to virtually zero.
But did they took the traffic lights away and the drivers were stopping for pedestrians, is that right? Or
Yeah.
did I get that wrong?
That's it.
Well, it would never work in London, and I'll tell you for why.
Go on then.
We've had a couple of traffic lights out, okay? Now, me and 3 or 4 other people were standing and growing roots before a car stopped. They won't stop. If there's no traffic lights, they'll just keep going. They haven't got the courtesy to actually stop and let you go. Even if there's you'll get 1 out of every 50 drivers. So it just wouldn't work because people can't cross the road.
Well, the thing is, well, you're not comparing like with like, because the lights are there, but they've just gone out, you see. So people act as though the lights were there, but they're on green.
Well, no, I don't know. They've got bags over their lights, so they can see they're not working. They can see there's people waiting. They can't go anywhere because there's traffic jams. But I think London roads are so crowded that any bit of space, they have to be nose to tail. And I mean, obviously people eventually let us all cross, but we were standing there forever, and I remembered your conversation. It would never work in London. Drivers would never stop. They're so stressed. They've got to get nose to tail to the car in front, and they just haven't got the Dutch way of saying, we'll wait a sec, you can go. They haven't got it. For whatever reason, they just haven't got it.
Well, I'm not sure that's entirely right. And as I say, you're not comparing like with like, because this Dutch experiment was in a small town. It wasn't in, a major metropolis like London. And all
That's
of
what I'm saying, they haven't got the stress. They haven't got the stress.
Right.
I don't think it'd work. I just don't think it would work, because you're so... All right, let's just take London, because I live here, but you're so stressed driving in London. Any bit of spare road, so by not having the lights there, it's spare road, because you're not stopping. Drivers would think, I'm going.
I see what... Yeah, I do know what you mean.
At.
Yeah. There's no end of dopes on the road. But there are a lot of nice and polite people. And I am, like, overly polite on the road. I thank everybody, and you can see that it cheers their day up. Because if you, if somebody lets you in, or you let them in, there's this moment of tension. Is this person going to acknowledge that I've been nice? And if you don't, you want to kill them. But if you do, just a little finger wave. It only takes 2 fingers. Well, not those 2 fingers. say 3 fingers, so there's no confusion. That's all it takes, and it will cheer up their little day, and oil the wheels of society.
You know what? The other thing as well, what the pedestrians don't realise, if you're walking in your local area and someone stops at, the white stripes on the pavement and lets you go, and you say thank you, when you're stuck on a sort of a side road and there's nowhere to cross, and you've seen the same car, the drivers remember you because they let you go, and pedestrians don't realise this. So you say thank you. I know they'd stop anyway because pedestrians have the right of way. Well, you say thank you. It's a local car. Then you're crossing some side street, and they seem to click that you've said thank you, earlier in the day, and they let you go.
Right. Well, I remember. Yeah, I suppose I can remember reading the highway code. I read a bit of it just recently, and one of the things it said was, don't. Now, I might have this completely wrong, but it advises against stopping to let someone cross the road. You should just continue your way along, and they can cross the road as and when there's a gap in the traffic. But if you stop, you are potentially creating an accident behind you, or, well, I guess just behind you. Or,
well, how are you supposed to cross if you're at a side road and there's no traffic lights there?
Well, why can't you just be happy where you are, Morel?
Because I don't want to go in a round circle and pass it forever, like the M25 when there's poor people that are stuck on the M25 for days before the police find them and rescue them. I like to actually change direction.
Yeah, people should just be more content with where they are.
They should just keep going on the circle, never cross the road, just stay on the same side of the pavement.
There you are, you see, problem solved. Yeah.
Let me die, Nick.
Right.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Morel. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
0845 6060 973. Already I'm helping people. Here is calling Primrose Hill. Hello, Peter.
Hi, Nick.
Peter.
Hello. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. Enjoying the weather.
You're welcome.
I'm calling about the horse thing.
Yes.
Now, well, the actual weekend papers were full of it, of all these lovely photographs of ancient horse sculptures going back, carved into the hillsides.
Yeah.
Going back to the prehistoric times.
Right.
Not to mention medieval ones. The white horse has been, for thousands of years, a symbol of something in England and
symbol of something. Yeah, you're absolutely right there, Peter. Yeah.
That's right. And so he's picked up on this.
I think it's an excellent idea. It looks good. It looks good in situ. I'm fully behind it.
Whereas the Gormley thing in the northeast, is like some strange kind of Nordic or
it's a bit too Teutonic.
It's Teutonic, yeah, exactly, and it has nothing to do with England, I don't think.
And what is it? Is it? I don't know what it is. It just it looks unlovely. It might look impressive up close because that's just because it's big.
Well, huge, yeah, but not as big as a horse is going to be. Which is good.
It'll be bigger, right?
Mm. But the Angel of the North is nothing to do with, I don't think, us. It might be something to do with some Norwegian or Swedish.
Does the phrase Angel of the North, I might be displaying horrible ignorance here, but does Angel of the North actually mean, what does that actually mean?
I don't know.
Does it have a meaning, or is it just a name he gave to the lump that he stuck up there?
It's kind of got wings, or arms.
Yeah.
So he can call it an angel, but...
If they're arms, there's a huge bingo wings he's got under there.
That's exactly it. No, it's all right, but I was more impressed with his figures in London standing on all the buildings.
Yeah, Anthony Gormley, he's just let's talk about a one-note artist. He's just done the same thing over and over and over and over again. Here's another cast of me standing up, or coming out of a wall, or hanging off the ceiling. And
yeah, I'd like to do that.
Well, just have one idea and run with it for the rest of your life.
Casts of me standing all over London, with naked.
Yeah, buck naked.
Yeah. But no, I liked the thing in London, which I thought was really good.
Yeah, his are buck naked, of course, and anatomically correct. He's smooth down there, like an action man.
Well, when you say anatomically correct, you're only assuming that. It looks quite large. You know what I mean?
About 6 foot, I think. Yeah, just like a normal human being. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I was thinking more of yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, I'll go now.
Thanks, Peter.
Cheers, Nick. Bye.
He knew when to go. He knew when to hold them, and he knew when to fold them. Like what's his name? The what guy with the beard? His name is he knew when to hold them. He knew when to fold them. Old Country and Western star. His name is. You're no help at all. Come on.
I'm not really up on the country music.
Rubbish. Here's Hampton. Hello, Jan.
Oh, sorry. Hello, Nick. Yes, the previous caller almost got it spot on. The white horse was a symbol of those Saxon tribes which settled in Kent and in around Kent, Essex, Suffolk, Surrey and Sussex. And there's lots of that white horse symbolism still to be seen. Kent has as its symbol a white horse, which they call Invicta.
Right.
In Suffolk and Essex, there are lots of towns and villages which have the white horse on their coat of arms. It just stems back to those Saxon tribes who settled in and around the southeast part of England.
Right. And what do you think about the idea of sticking a giant horse up there?
I think it's hot stuff. I love it.
I think it's great too. I think it's something that's going to go down well with the public. I think because modern art, people don't really like modern art. Although the art galleries of London are
you're massive to the converted here, Nick.
Oh, really? Are massively popular, and I think the British Museum is the #1 tourist destination in London, which is odd because it's also the most boring of the major museums or galleries. But, art, trying to get the public to go foursquare behind art is virtually impossible. But stick a giant horse on the ground, and people will love it.
Yeah, you don't get too many coach trips to see Tracy Emin's bed, do you? I mean,
no, you don't.
Not done,
no.
No.
I think Saatchi owns that, doesn't he?
Good luck.
Can you imagine just having that in your house?
What could you do with it?
Yeah,
you couldn't sleep in it. It's disgusting.
I'm amazed that she could.
Indeed.
Thanks, Jan.
Take care, Nick.
0845 6060 973. Yeah, here's my Warhol print. And here's a bottle of pills by Damien Hirst. Only £100,000. He bought it in a chemist's. And here's Tracy Emin's bed. People would be holding their noses and fleeing. Why on earth would anybody actually want to buy that? Could only be for monetary gain, not because they liked it. Honestly. If you're listening, Mr. Saatchi, give us a bell. A quick tinkle. Won't do it. I haven't had one single person yet who wanted to talk about marriage and children and the love or lack of it.
We have one coming up later.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Because the secret to a happy marriage is apparently, according to Professor Dan at the University of Harvard in the States, is not to have children. Which kind of goes against common sense, or the sort of commonly held belief about marriage, and is counterintuitive is the phrase that I'm looking for. And I asked if that was true, and the response I got was complete in its silence. It's 8:45. Here's LBC Travel with Helen Austin.
Thank you very much. Well...
yeah? Bermondsey. Hello, Peter.
Good evening, Nick. Yeah, a quick one on the horse in Kent.
Yeah.
Surely it should be a prancing horse, a la Ferrari, with Invicta on it. Because I believe Invicta is a Latin word for unconquered, which I think Kent has never been conquered by anybody coming in. So I think a nice big prancing horse would be fantastic. Right. Anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch, we were saying about the old Bill making a mountain out of a molehill.
In what sense?
Well, on the road.
What, not clearing up an accident?
Making it sort of last.
Yeah.
Yeah, now, years ago, we were on a coach trip to Paris, and we were going clockwise round the 25, and we were North London. All of a sudden, all the traffic stops, the old Bill's there, sending us off, and because we was on a coach, we could see right the way down. I mean, you're about 6 foot up, yeah?
Yeah.
And we could see 2 skips on the carriageway. Now, the lorry had not turned over. Somehow or other, the skips had come off. Now, we thought, all of us on the coach, now there's enough men in all the cars waiting. We could have got out the coach with the blokes, pushed these skips onto the hard shoulder, then all the traffic could have carried on.
Yeah.
But no, the old Bill weren't interested, leaving it there. Tragically for us, the coach driver did not know North London. So by the time he found Blackwall Tunnel, we'd missed our ferry. And on a similar, I used to drive, I was a white van driver, or actually the van was red. And there's a place here in South London, it's called Kirkdale, which comes up to a little pimple roundabout, and it's called Sydenham Hill. Now, I was just finishing my morning run, and as I was coming up, there was a fire engine on the left, just by the roundabout. There was a cop's car on the other side. Then there was a ambulance. Then there was a cop's car on the drive side of the road, and then I heard another cop tear arsing up. And then as I came up onto the roundabout to drop down the hill, there was a little van, and there were 3 firemen trying to get into the van. I couldn't even see the driver. And there were people, there was no other car involved, and there were people standing there looking absolutely bemused what it was all about. And it just struck me at times, do they use these as, like, practice? Or is it they got nothing better to do?
Yeah.
To make the, I mean, you know, you've seen it in Alnwick. You go on the road and you see just a minor knock and you think, what is all that about?
I know, just get on with it, clear the road and let us get on with our lives.
Yeah, I mean, me and the wife did 1,000 miles in Europe, and you get a minor accident, and the old Bill had it all under control, and the object was to keep the traffic flowing.
Yeah, well, on the mountain pass, if you have an accident on a mountain pass in France, they'll just push you off the cliff.
Yeah.
Just to not inconvenience anyone.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, we've seen accidents. You think, now, back home, we wouldn't even move, as you were saying earlier
Yeah,
on.
these people on the M20, you're going to be there a long time. Around about now, you'll be thinking, I really need to go to the toilet. Well, you're fresh out of luck.
OK, Nick.
Thanks a lot, mate.
OK, matey.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
0845 6060 973. Yeah, he's absolutely right about that. People just, it's as though they just don't. Maybe it's a health and safety thing. I don't know, but people aren't using common sense. It's as though common sense doesn't exist in this country anymore. The amount of times I've come around Shepherd's Bush Green, and there's double red lines, which is like double yellow lines, but louder. They're one louder. Now, I don't know what the difference between a double red and a double yellow is. You can't stop on either of them. But a double red means you really, really can't stop. At all. Not now. Not ever. Never. The amount of times I've seen police pull someone up just off the roundabout, and they'll stop, but yards from the exit, on a double red, stopped another car also on the double red, so that people can't get around, but without squeezing through, so which backs the traffic up onto the roundabout, of course, so the roundabout is more clogged, and so you can't get on the roundabout, and so all the roads that are feeding onto the roundabout get clogged, just because they've stopped on a double red. Now, there's no reason why you would want to stop on a double red line. That's just not common sense. But they don't care, 'cause there's coppers, and they can put their little flashing light on, and all usual rules go out the window. And yet, if you'd done that, they'd be hoiking your car into the air and sticking it on the back of a lorry before you could check your watch. So there does seem to be like a common sense failure in society at large, really. No one's got any common sense anymore.
Especially in Shepherd's Bush, I find.
Shepherd's Bush, well, notorious for it, aren't they? Shepherd's Bush. I used to live in Shepherd's Bush. What a hideous mess it is. And its environs are hideous too. Goldhawk Road. Don't talk to me about the Goldhawk Road.
I found the posh bit of Goldhawk Road the other day.
There isn't one.
If you keep going and going and going, it turns posh.
You get to Berkshire. Yeah. Here is Catford. Trixie.
Hello.
Trixie.
I was in the car, actually, and I heard your call for married people, any married people.
Yes.
And obviously I'm a much married person, as you know. I've never had any children. So, I don't know
well, difficult for you to tell, then.
Well, yes, but whenever I have had friends or met friends who've just had children, they seem to break up straight afterwards. But that's,
Really? What, not even stay together for the sake of the kids?
No.
What awful people you know?
Yes, precisely. So I don't think that I would be the perfect person. So on that score,
you're not a great advert for
not
marriage
really.
either.
No. But there's always a chance that the fourth time possibly might work.
You've liked it so much, you've tried it 3 times.
I did indeed. Anyway, yes, the cyclists. The thing that really does worry me a lot. I hold the traffic up because I'm trying to avoid the cyclist. I try to overtake, I signal, as one's supposed to do, move out slightly, but they seem to speed up next to me, and they speed up just as bollards come up in the middle
just as the road narrows.
So then I daren't overtake because they're rushing towards the bollard,
That's
and I'm
right.
trying to overtake them.
And so you have to slow down and then speed up once you're through the little chicane there, thereby ruining the planet.
And yes, exactly. And of course, then there's traffic on the other side of the road, and there's this.
So you're literally forced to knock them over. Is that what you're saying?
Well, almost, but I don't. I haven't yet knocked a cyclist over, but I'm working on it.
Well, there's time. Yeah.
When I lived in Finland, again, this is a planet away, but they had, those little, when you've got the crossings with the little green man coming on.
Yes.
And then you've got crossings which have just got those little studs across. There are the pelican crossings, or I think they're pelican crossings.
Studs?
Yes, but they're called a special crossing, and that's meant for bikes to go across at certain times.
Really?
In Finland, they had baby traffic lights, and they were literally set right the way down the bottom of the traffic lights, and they were in miniature, and they were deliberately designed for cyclists. So when it was okay for the cyclists to nip across the road quickly before the traffic started, they changed accordingly.
Right.
And I think if they had perhaps some little very very low down for cyclists, that might be an idea.
I think that cyclists are... cycling is definitely the way forward. More people should cycle.
Except for Boris Karloff.
No, he's done a great job. So he breaks the rules. All cyclists break the rules because the rules aren't for cyclists.
And I'm sure his hair looks wonderful in the wind.
Just like we break the rules by crossing when the red man is up. Only tourists are standing there waiting for the green man. All London is crossing while it's still red.
Well, I don't. I cross when it's green.
Right, well, that's just one of the many ways
it's the safest thing to do.
Which you're weird.
Because I tripped on the crossing once. I nearly got run over.
Right.
Anyway, the other thing, the white horse is a brilliant idea. Of course, it's prehistoric. And what better to greet people when they're coming into England? Welcome to prehistoric England. Because that's the way people expect us to behave.
It doesn't say England to me. It doesn't. It doesn't really say anything about anything other than it's the countryside. Here's an animal that you see in the countryside, and it looks nice, and it's a talking point.
It does look nice, yes. So from that aspect, yes, it's a nice idea.
Yeah. I mean, it looks nicer than a wind farm, for instance.
Indeed, it does. But then, yes, no, I was going to say something totally inappropriate.
As long as it doesn't produce methane, then it's perfectly fine.
Yes, exactly. You could have a real giant horse there like the giant cow. That would be even more impressive, I should imagine. That 10-foot cow story.
That cow, I only saw one picture of the giant cow today. It's going to be all over the press tomorrow. I'm telling you, it is huge.
Oh, I wish I'd seen that. No, you really had
a 2-ton cow.
Oh, gosh. You're really had me suspicious way back. I mean, that's one problem I had driving, was actually paying attention to the road when I was listening to you.
Wow, the last time I saw a 2-ton cow, it had blonde hair and was part of the Conservative cabinet.
Hey, you've got to get a noise for him. You've got one for Gordon
Who, for
Brown.
Bojo?
Yes, you've got to have some yeah, something like that.
Something like that. I'll work on it. Thanks, Trixie.
Okay,
thanks, my dear. This is LBC 97.3. It's coming towards 9 o'clock.
Are you can talk to me.
I still haven't had any calls from people who have been married, want to talk about children, and whether this chap from Harvard University is right when he said that children is what actually ruins marriage, not the other way around, because the perceived wisdom is that, or the received wisdom rather, is that the children save marriages. That with children comes joy. But actually, this chap, who's done extensive research at Harvard, no less than a prestigious institution as that Ivy League university, says that it's actually the arrival of children that sends your marriage into the toilet. Isn't that right, Abby? Got no idea. Do you have children?
No, I'm too young for that.
Right, like I said. No, you're not. There's a 13-year-old girl that's just married a 14-year-old boy in the paper today. You're never too young. Unless you want to adhere to the law. Here is Tulsa. Hello, Phil.
Hello, Nick.
Yes, Phil.
I was just going to talk about the traffic and the weather, mate. I think it is a little bit too hot sometimes. I think, sorry to moan, but I've found it a little bit unbearable.
Well, what do you do?
You've got the air conditioner on, and then it's all right.
Yeah, what do you do?
What, job-wise?
Yeah, what is it that's too hot?
It's just full on hot. It's just too hot. It's not windy enough. It just burns you, doesn't it?
Well, it depends what you do, though, Phil. What do you do?
Well, if you're out in the common kicking the football about...
What, you don't do anything?
Well, yeah, no, I go out and play football in the common.
Oh, please, you don't do anything and you're complaining about the heat. Like, if you were a worker, like a brickie in the blazing sunshine, then I could understand. Or you were a removals man. What a nightmare that must be, humping people's sofas on a day like this.
No, I'm in an air-conditioned office all day, so it's only when I go out of the office, even at 5 o'clock when you finish work, it's still really hot. So.
Oh, Phil.
Stop whining.
I'm not whining, Nick. And traffic. I was at the pleasure, or the luxury rather, driving through London yesterday at about 5 in the morning to pick the missus up.
Oh, bliss, eh?
Not a thing on the road.
Is it great?
All the way through, the whole London.
It's the only freedom left on the road, but you have to do it while everybody else is asleep.
If you want to get anywhere, get up at 5 in the morning and drive through London on a weekend, don't pay the congestion charge, and go to Heathrow and have a day out.
Yeah. Okay, I was with you right up until the last part, but, I totally agree. Driving when no one else is on the road, you cannot beat it. Cheers, Phil.
No, it was good.
Try the shade underneath a tree.
It's good. And also, when there's nothing on the road, you've got no one to cut up and no one to get angry with you.
That's right, yeah.
Unless you're approaching Heathrow on the roundabout and you see the slip lights that haven't been driving in a while, so you see the traffic lights that are red and brake really suddenly, and a bloody taxi almost goes up your rear end, and he gets really annoyed, and then you have to swerve round and stop at the traffic lights. I realised my blunder and just drove off.
Well, yeah, you don't want to receive the ire from a cab driver because
he was quite missed. I was quite expecting driving underneath the tunnel underneath Heathrow that he'd come up behind me and
bib his horn, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a very scornful look on him.
Well, you have to understand, Phil. They're driving around in a cab that doesn't have air conditioning, that is famously difficult to manoeuvre and uncomfortable.
These things cost £30,000. How do they not fit them with air?
I have no idea. And he works on London streets for a living. No wonder they're annoyed.
Miserable job.
Phil, thanks very much, mate.
Cheers, mate.
By the way, football, he's complaining because it's too hot to play football. The season's over. Cricket. A much more relaxed game. When the football stops, because near me there's a football pitch which becomes a cricket pitch in the summertime. And in the winter, when they're playing football, the sound of football is very unlovely. And I think this is one of the reasons why women don't like football. Back me up on this, Abby. When your significant other, I'm making many assumptions here, is watching football, it's the sound of it you don't like, right? It's that sort of bestial roar of the crowd that just drives you out the room, right?
I like watching the England matches, though.
Yeah, because it's green, so it's easy on the eye, and there's lots of fit lads in shorts.
No, I don't like football men.
You don't like football men? No. What does that mean?
I prefer the rugby one.
Oh, right. Posher.
Posh.
Yes. You like a man who can express himself in English, rather than saying, oh, Yeah, I understand. It's the noise of football people don't like, and of course, if it's just a kickabout or a lowly game that you'd find in a park, that noise is pretty unlovely as well. Like that. Cricket, on the other hand, is a little ripple of applause every now and again, and the thwack of leather on willow, which sounds great. It's the best sounding sport ever. Name me a sport that sounds better than cricket. There isn't one. Boring as hell to look at, and to do, I would imagine. I imagine that cricket is much like war. Acres of boredom, punctuated by brief flashes of terror, as a ball the constituency of a rock hurtles at your face. What a silly game. Sounds great. There is no better sounding sport ever.
I did once query a football fan as to why he thought football fans and rugby fans cheered, but cricket fans clapped. And he just looked at me as if I was mad.
Well, that's an interesting question. I haven't ever been to a cricket, like, the Oval or anything like that, because, seriously, life's too short. Even if you live to be 100 years old, you don't have the luxury of a day to waste in that manner. I'd rather sit looking at the corner of a room like a cat. Why do cats do that, by the way? They're setting themselves into a little catty trance. Groovy. Aren't they? It's like cat drugs to a cat, sitting there and just letting your mind free by staring at the wall. Here's a call in Hendon. Hello, Paul.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thanks.
What I want to know is, I drive every day on the A2M2. Hello?
Yeah. A2M2 with you so far, yes.
I'm going from the Blackwell Tunnel onto the A2 and leading onto the M2.
Right.
What bothers me, nearly every time I see it, there's here like cones, you know, the little cones they put when they work?
Mm-hmm. On the M2, A2M2, on the cones, yes.
Yeah, you know, they put like little cones, that means they're working somewhere. A lot of times it stretches like for good over a mile, that means they close off a lane.
Right.
And the works, only like right at the end, you see them like a little tractor.
Yeah.
Why does it always have to put like a whole long stretch of cones when they're only working right to the end?
I think it's a health and safety thing. As another one of these, if people...
So why so long?
I have no idea, mate.
For a mile, 1.5 miles, just doing traffic closing, and a lot of them you only see right at the end, a small like something, or a lot of them you don't see anything.
Well, Bojo needs to get his head around that as well. Boris Johnson, our new mayor, he seriously needs to get something sorted about the roads. Let's just free them up. Apparently he's to talk to the water board, and they've agreed not to disrupt our lives quite so very much.
A lot of them, they say traffic on the roads for such stupid reasons.
Yeah. Oh, I'm fully behind you there, Paul. I feel your pain. Thanks very much, mate. 0845 6060 973. Yeah, he's made a deal with the water board because they're replacing our Victorian pipes with plastic ones. I don't like plastic, but you can't see them, so it doesn't matter. And because they're digging up the roads, they're taking... Well, it doesn't matter to them, does it? They take forever and a day. They put the cones up, they dig up the road, and then they leave for, I don't know, Spain or France or the rest of their lives. And they just leave it there, and no activity is seen from one week to the next. Well, this is unacceptable, and he's put them on the naughty step, or something like that. And they've said, oh yeah, all right, sorry, matey boy, we won't be doing that again. Or that's what they've said. Let's keep a track on their actual behaviour. Here's Croydon. Hello, Chris.
Hello, mate.
Chris.
It's a nice short message. I just wanted to say to that bloke who was moaning about it being too hot.
Yeah.
I think we need to move him somewhere nice and cold so he doesn't make everyone else miserable in London.
Right, we could put him on an ice floe and send him out to sea.
Yeah, we'll put a bit of a puncture in the boat, maybe.
Right. No boat. He'll just be on an ice floe. No luxuries like boats. Nothing like that.
We've had, a handful of warm days, and he's already moaning, and I think maybe the air conditioning should be taken away from his office.
As a punishment, yeah, you're right. You're quite right there. All right, thanks very much, Chris.
Mate, bye.
This weather is absolutely fantastic, and it reminds me of that year, whenever it was a couple of years ago, that year that we had the best summer since 1976. Do you remember that? It was maybe 3 years, 4 years ago, something like that. Oh, it was bliss. I wasn't working at all at the time, never mind about 7 days a week. I had no job. Can you imagine how happy I was? Everybody else was... I mean, when it hit 100 for a week, then people did start justifyingly complaining. Because if you've got to go to work on the tube in the morning, and it's 100 degrees by 2 in the afternoon, then it's blooming hot there in the morning because the ground retains the heat. Oh, it must have been a living hell. I was loving it, because I got nothing to do all day long. Bliss. It might be one of those years where we've got this from now on, which is what happened then. I think it started earlier than this. It started in March, didn't it? It started in March, and then it was continuously fabulous until November. I can remember having a picnic in November, on November the 5th, And come to find out, if I'd had one the very next day, on November the 6th, it would have been even nicer. That was that 1 year. And since then, it's been rubbish on a stick. This year, you never know. This might be it. It might be like this from now until at least the end of September. Or it might be it in the other sense. This might be what we get. And it might be freezing cold and raining from now until, next June. That is June 2009. So don't moan. Suck it up.
Just as you said that, a very cold blast is coming out of the air conditioning. I hope that's not an omen.
See? Moan, moan, moan. 9:15. LBC Travel with Helen Austin.
Thanks ever so much. Well, the fabulous.
Here's Wolverhampton. Hello, Andy.
Hello, Nick.
Andy.
Before I talk about my football, I totally agree with you about the weather. When my fingers are freezing cold in the December and January, I just long for the day when the sun comes out.
I don't have any feeling in my... Yeah, I don't have any feeling in my fingers from September to June.
There's nothing... The greatest pleasure I get is... I did it this week, is when I can put my hat and gloves to the bottom of the drawer and say, I won't be seeing you again until whenever.
And you can put your woolly socks away.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Football.
Football.
I'm trying to think what your mate said about why we make a row at football, and whereas cricket is kind of genteel and I guess there's always the thing, as you said before, the football is your kind of archetypal tribal warfare.
Yes, that's right.
I don't know what it is. What I like about football, what was pointed out to me by someone who has no interest in sport whatsoever, but the one thing he was jealous about with football, and I guess a possible exception as well, is a music concert, is you're allowed to, it's acceptable to express your emotions without any inhibition.
Yeah.
The thing that comes to you in that, that, not that it happens to my team often this season, but when you score, it's that immediate feeling.
Yeah.
And you don't remember to restrain yourself.
No. Nor is it encouraged, really. You can express every kind of emotion, from spittle-flecked fury...
Absolutely right.
...to crying your eyes out, and it's all okay.
But there's nowhere else you can do that, really. I say, mate, about a music concert, you get away with it.
Yeah.
But even if you wanted to, say your daughter's passed a piano exam, or she's done well in an exam, you might want to leap around, but you won't do it. even if inside that's how you think you're feeling.
Yeah.
But as I say, it's accepted, encouraged, and not frowned upon in a football ground.
That's right. Yes, it's one of the few places that men can express themselves fully. That is not behind the wheel of a car. Yeah.
So yeah, that's my take on football.
It's a great release. It's organised warfare, is what it is.
Well, organised idolatry, so someone called it once.
Yes, that too. Yeah, but then I suppose we do. The human race has a tradition of idolising its warrior chiefs.
Too right.
I mean, there's no end of every statue in London, pretty much, almost without exception, is idolising a warrior chief. Andy, thanks very much for that perspective. Cheers, mate. 0845 6060 973. Here is Natalie in Blackheath.
Yeah, hi.
Natalie.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Great. Now, I just got a couple of points about motoring.
Yeah.
Number one, I think that the bus lane in Blackheath Village is absolutely a joke.
What do you mean?
Well, everyone goes in the bus lane.
Ooh, shouldn't do that.
Well, we all do.
Well, you will be getting a letter in the post with a fine attached, I betcha.
No, we don't. We've done it for years. And in fact, us mums, Blackheath mums, we have a little policy that we actually make a little note when the police are down the bottom. So
you make a note? What do you mean?
Well, we can actually do a little signal to make sure that we know that they're not actually clocking us. But there's no...
What, like you signal to other Blackheath mums?
Indeed.
What, like the old truckers used to do in America?
Indeed.
Hey, good
Indeed.
buddy, 10-4, there's a bear in the air.
Yeah, we're so naughty. We're really, really naughty.
Well, how do you do that? What's the secret?
I'll tell you off air, but I can't tell you on air. But the reason why I was phoning was
Go on,
that last week and I bet your callers would actually all slaughter me for this. I dropped my kids off at Colf, did a loop.
You dropped your kids off at what?
Colf School.
Cubs?
Colf School.
Colf?
Colf School, Colfes, Colf School.
Colfs. Blimey.
Seagreen.
A horrible word. Colfs. Colfs school.
It's private. Probably really bad.
Oh, we get you in your private school.
I know. Sorry.
Go on.
Anyway, dropped my 2 children off at Colf School.
At Colf's school, yes.
Yeah,
Say
anyway.
it loud, say it proud.
Sorry?
Don't be embarrassed, Natalie.
I'm not embarrassed because I'm divorced now and I'm paying, whatever. Anyway, so, basically, I don't know if you're around Blackheath area.
Oh, no.
No, anyway. But anyway, dropped them off, going to Sainsbury's Lee Green.
Sainsbury's? What, without mentioning your brand name? Sainsbury's, yes.
Oh, God. Are you going to allow... no, it's going to be bad.
Go on.
No, anyway, I was just about to go left to Sainsbury's. I was dropping them off,
Left, right. Mm-hmm.
And a great big police van, all lights flashing, was heading towards me.
Yeah.
They came hurtling forward. I slammed on the brakes. The car behind me slammed into me.
Oh.
He drove off.
What, the car that slammed into the back of you?
Yeah. Obviously the police car went off. So anyone ever in Lee Green that saw that happen, please help me because I've got no idea, no witnesses, whatever. And I just think to myself, well, what do I do? Right, because if I'm turning left and there's a great big police van hurtling with blue lights towards me, I'm sure your listeners will have, all their views. This guy that crashed in the back of me, that went off, that's nothing, isn't it?
Well, it sounds like he's wrong in both counts. If you bash into the back of somebody else, I think insurer will say it's your fault. Not yours, Natalie, but the person who banged in the back of you. And, of course, you shouldn't leave the scene of a crime.
No, exactly.
Not a scene of a crash.
Exactly.
Right, well, it sounds like a very bad day. You want to go to Tesco's next week?
I'll tell you what, Nick Ferrari don't like Sainsbury's Lee Green. I'm beginning to agree with him. I'm thinking, I'm not going to go to Sainsbury's Lee Green either, because it was a terrible day. It was a terrible day.
But Sainsbury's hadn't got anything to do with that, with the day.
No. In fact, when I got into there, that was fine. It was lovely.
Right.
It was fine. It was
They
lovely.
had all sorts of produce on sale. Ooh, so yummy. Natalie, I hope that tomorrow is a better day than that one that you just described. Cheers, my dear. 0845 6060 973. Not one single parent has called to tell me about the hell that descends when children come into the marriage. Because this is the thing that I started out with. This chap in Harvard University that says that married life is the key to happiness, but having children ruins it all. So the best way to spend your life is married, but childless, which is contrary to what you would think is the truth. Psychological studies show that people appreciate products more if they pay more. We pay for children in time, attention, blood, sweat, tears. What kind of idiots would we be to devote all that time to the rearing of our young if they didn't bring us some happiness, this professor says. Repeated studies have shown that the period immediately surrounding childbirth can be the most stressful that couples experience. Psychologists have also found that couples with children are less satisfied with their marriage than those without. Couples with children are less satisfied than those without. Doesn't that go contrary to how you would, what you think the truth would be? Those with children less satisfied with their marriage than those without. So it's not like there's something missing. They're leaping for joy that there's something missing. So I was just curious whether his research met up with your experience in real life, but not one single married person is prepared to even discuss that with me. It's the taboo that dare not say its name. I hate my kids.
We've got one.
Really?
If you can wait 15 seconds.
I can wait longer than that. London Colney. Hello, Mandy.
Oh, yeah.
Mandy.
How are you?
I'm great, mate.
Good. Long time no speak.
Yeah. Haven't I been lucky?
No, don't say that. I've missed my song.
Oh, yeah. Well.
Yeah, well. You were talking about cricket and the ball.
Cricket, yes.
The noise it makes.
It's the best sounding sport, bar none, unless you know otherwise.
I do. I love cricket.
Yeah.
Believe me, I shall be here Thursday watching it.
It sounds like talk, or is it? It's not a thwack. A thwack is more like. That's a thwack. It's a talk, a distant, almost hollow talk, followed by a polite round of applause.
Yeah, but when they get a 6, that is a good knock, isn't it?
Yeah, but if you're as far away as I am from a cricket match, which is some distance, then it still sounds like a talk to me.
But another sound that I love is snooker balls.
Ah, the clack.
Yeah. I love it. When they knock together.
Yes, there is something satisfying about that.
It's soporific.
Well, as is snooker itself, both visually and orally, yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy snooker. Well, I'm a ladette. I like everything except rugby, but the noise of those snooker balls and I'm asleep.
Clack, yeah. Well, snooker is a tremendous somnambulant. It's green. Nothing ever happens apart from little coloured balls whiz about the bays. Groovy. It's almost like a hippie's dream television programme.
No, but I love it when they get a fluke. That's brilliant.
A fluke?
Yeah.
Or is that a particularly difficult sort of shot?
No, when it's an accident.
Oh, you mean a
ball
fluke?
Goes in.
Right.
You know what I mean?
A fluke, yeah.
I like that. And I like it when they accidentally knock the ball off the table.
Knock the ball off the table?
I'm horrible.
When have you ever seen that?
I've seen that on television.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
at the Crystal last week.
Well, I think the key to snooker is keeping the ball on the table.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know anything about snooker. That's just a guess on my part.
It's a great sport. I want to play it.
Well, it's not really a sport, is it? Be honest. It's a pastime.
I want to play it.
But it's not a sport, though.
Yeah.
It's a pastime. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of youth, because precious few people can actually make a living out of snooker, but an enormous amount of people are spending the best years of their lives squirreled away in some malodorous basement under shiny neon those tubes, argon tubes, whatever they're called. What are they called? Fluorescent lights. Yeah, like you're in prison.
Oh, God, you make it sound horrible.
Well, it is horrible. It is horrible.
Don't you like watching it?
Well, I used to, but it's quite it's quite addictive. Like golf is on television.
Yeah, I love
that. I don't have enough hours in the day to allow myself that addiction. I'm on about 3 sets a day now, man.
What about tennis? That noise is nice as well.
What?
No, not that.
Like that? Horrible.
Ball hitting the racket.
Yeah. Well, you can't hear anything because some Slavic girl is grunting her face off.
Sharapova, whatever her name is, yeah.
Yeah.
But, no, I don't like women's tennis. I like men's.
Well, just tennis in general. I mean, these days it's so interesting.
Boring!
Could you name me the top 5 tennis players in the world? I bet if I held a gun to your head you couldn't do that.
I could.
Who?
Federer.
Yes.
Nadal.
Yeah.
Djokovic.
Yeah.
Ooh. How many is that? 3?
Oh, dear Mandy, thanks for playing. LBC 97.3. The time is 9:30.
LBC 90.
Suddenly an embarrassment of riches. I've got Joe Parkinson, our show business editoress, and Clive Bull. Clive first.
Okay,
you
then.
have to get on.
All right. Yes, I'll tell you what we're doing after
Go
10.
on, then.
Well, we might be doing. One thing is getting drunk.
Hooray!
Yes. Yeah, well, yes.
Let's start now.
Is it okay to get drunk once in a while? Do you think that the units that are quoted, are realistic or not?
But do you want to discuss that briefly, or would you rather say
if you
that?
like. Yeah.
Because I have a doctor friend who told me about this, and he said that it's all wrong because what they based it on are people who present drink or problems caused by excessive alcohol in hospitals, and they will ask them, how much do you drink?
Right.
If anybody's asked how much you drink by a medical professional, the first thing you do is lie.
Yeah.
And put it much lower than you actually do. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so the conclusion by the medical professional is that your liver is a desiccated lump of coal because you drink what they just said, which is
13 units a week.
Yeah, precisely. And so this becomes common currency, and then government targets or advice is based on misinformation. So it's all too low, and of course our levels are much lower than almost every other country in the world. I mean, you go to Japan, and they virtually pickle themselves, and the government doesn't bat an eyelid.
Oh, well, that's fine then.
Well,
I'll drink more. I'm okay. That's good news. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about not just drink, but food as well. Cooking. You know, Delia with her sort of shortcuts.
The Blessed
all
Delia.
That. Yeah, the Blessed Delia with a rather silly show that she did.
Oh, was it? I didn't see it.
It was actually silly. It was just,
But isn't that how people...
Frozen mashed potato and...
Yeah, but isn't that how people actually cook? People watch all those food porn shows, and then they eat... they just gnaw a piece of cheese while they're doing it, don't they?
No, the problem was that, what people... what she was saying you do is you get your frozen mashed potato, and you get some other ingredients out of jars and things, and you make Thai fish cakes, and it takes about an hour. And that's not what people do. People go to M&S and they buy Thai fish cakes. They don't buy all the ingredients in manufactured little jars and then put them all together to make Thai fish cakes. It just didn't make sense. If you're saving time, then don't have such a complicated recipe.
I suppose so, yeah. But the feeling of achievement that you get by knocking together one of Delia's fish cakes.
Well, that's true. I mean,
as opposed to just opening and following the instructions on a box.
Well, yes, but then you could boil the potatoes and mash them yourself instead of getting them out of the freezer. But
we boil our potatoes and then we mash them into little bits.
That's it. Yes. So that and how to recover your laptop if it's stolen.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I've got a secret trick for doing it.
Really?
I read about,
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. So that's with Clive.
What kind of a tease is that?
Ah, very, very good indeed. Yes, that's with Clive coming up after the new news at 10 o'clock. Thank you very much, Clive.
Cheers.
Hey, Joe,
Hello.
what do you know?
I know a lot about Sex and the City.
Now, you've just been to the Sex and the City premiere.
Yes.
Right, did you wear your Manolos?
Film that you're so excited about.
Did you do...
They're not Malonas.
Did you have any Jimmy Choo shoes on?
They're hurting. My feet are absolutely killing me. I've been on these for the past 3 hours now. And they hurt. In fact, they hurt so much that I was halfway back on a tube and I actually had to get off the tube and go overground and get a taxi because I just couldn't bear to be on my feet any longer.
Is it de rigueur, or is it just in Leeds that women have both shoes in one hand and a can of lager in the other?
And, they're just walking along barefoot with really scabby feet. Yeah, that's Leeds.
Right.
I used to live there, so I know. But no, it was a brilliant night though, really, really incredible. The atmosphere was just out of this world. I've not experienced a premiere like that.
Really?
Really, honestly, I've done some massive premieres in town, like the Bond premiere, I remember the Will Smith, iRobot was a huge premiere. Star Wars, I've done all of those premieres, but there was nothing quite like this. And I know you're just going to think I'm just such a typical girl now, but it was because it was mostly women. I mean, it really was. There was about... I don't know, 2,000 or more women in Leicester Square.
Now, when you say women, what age?
All ages. All ages. I mean, I would say the average age was probably about 30-ish.
Right. So they should have known better.
No, they just love Sex and the City. I told you, it has this huge hold over people.
Why?
And I've never experienced screaming like it when the stars of the film arrive.
Now, hang on a minute. This is 30-year-old women screaming at 50-year-old women.
At 45-ish, up to 50, yes. And they would do...
Please explain that.
Well, I know, it was really weird. The Sex and the City girls, so Sarah Jessica Parker, Kim Cattrall, Cynthia Nixon and Kristen Davis, all arrived separately in these big blacked out Bentleys.
They must hate each other.
Well, yeah, that's it. That's the, they didn't arrive together, but it was meticulously planned. So Sarah Jessica Parker arrives first. She's the biggest star.
She's the famous one, is she?
The screams are...
Is she the one that looks like a horse?
According to you blokes, yes. This is the thing with guys and girls. They have a disagreement over Sarah Jessica Parker because we think she's beautiful.
Right.
And she dresses fantastically.
I know a good optician. I'll give you this number.
Yeah, I know. You sound like my husband. Yeah. He thinks she's ugly, looks like a horse, has a mole that needs treating and dresses terribly. But I disagree with him all the time, and I will disagree with you on this argument.
It's 2 to 1. You must be right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure if we had other women, and then they would agree with me too.
Right.
But no, so Sarah Jessica Parker arrives first. They're screaming her name, they're calling Sarah, and then Sarah. Yeah, and also the name of her character, Carrie. They're screaming.
But what do they see now? If a woman screams at, I don't know, name a famous pop star of current.
Justin Timberlake.
Cliff Richard. Yes, you're absolutely right. If women scream at Cliff Richard, then they want to, get you out. They want to...
They would not shout that to Cliff Richard. They'd shout it to Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, that's right. Justin Timberlake. Yeah, him. Then they want to have, or they perhaps don't actually want to have interfacial relations. They actually probably do, if it's Justin Timberlake, don't they? But why are girls screaming at women?
Because it's this appeal that I told you about with Sex and the City, where they really relate to the characters. They might relate to a bit to Carrie.
How can they possibly relate to rich... here I tread into territory I don't really know what I'm talking about. I don't know what their characters are like, but are they not rich, successful New York women?
Yes,
How can a London gal screaming her face off in Leicester Square relate to that?
Yeah. I mean, it is weird. It's so weird, and, when you saw the state of some of the people screaming their face off, I'm sure they didn't have anything in common with Sarah Jessica Parker, or even her character Carrie, but... The series Sex and the City just had this thing where we just loved it. We loved what went on in their lives. We loved the dramas. We loved the fashion. We loved the fact that they would meet up for a gossip. They were started off as 4 single girls, so I thought that really appealed to single girls. Now it's 4 years later, and they've all got men. 2 are married, and 2 are with men. Don't know what's going to happen with them.
Yeah, but you can't. There's this big plot thing that no one's allowed to say.
No,
right.
no, so it'll just ruin it.
Right. So the movie is. I'll guess what it is. Okay, it's it starts, and there's a lot of talking, and they talk about shoes and men and that's it.
No, that's not.
I got that wrong, did I?
Yeah. It starts...
Did anyone get shot?
No, there was one journalist tonight, and he was like, wait till you see the... He's very camp. Wait till you see the shootout at the end. And a couple of people believed him. I said, that obviously doesn't happen.
Oh.
It was, for me, a really exciting premiere and very enjoyable. And great to see the girls, or the women, should I say, in the flesh. And Sarah Jessica Parker didn't disappoint. She had a Alexander McQueen, beautiful lime green dress, like sort of fairy tutu skirt, and on her head she had a Philip Tracy hat, which actually looked like a plant sort of attached to her head with little butterflies and flowers.
It sounds
coming
about
off
the most hideous outfit I've ever heard of in my life.
I knew you were going to say it. She did, again, to us girls, it was incredible. So they arrive, and the crowd are screaming their names, and as each car comes up, the roar that went up, I was
Do we have audio?
Yes, we do.
You're building up to it, right?
Yeah, okay. Well, first of all, I spoke to Sarah Jessica Parker, and just said to her, why is it that this series, and you as these characters, cause such commotion?
I don't know. I mean, it's a remarkable place to be tonight, and we're thrilled to be here. This is, we've certainly not experienced it in our life, and I think it speaks to the writing and the kind of characters that our writers created that we really were the beneficiaries for a long time.
Do you think there's still the same interest 4 years on?
It's very hard for me to rationally understand it myself, but we're very lucky, I think, once again, not to deflect, but really good writing goes a long way in creating a connection with a viewer, I think, and so I think it was just a new voice, and it was resonant for reasons that are hard to plan in some way.
She looks like a horse. She sounds like Minnie Mouse.
Oh, she's got a cute voice. I love her voice.
Now, when
could you hear them in the background shouting, "We want Kim! We want Kim!"
Who's Kim?
Kim Cattrall.
Oh, right. I wouldn't know if I stepped over in the street.
Samantha, who's the blonde one, who's like a man-eater. She's sort of like... Before this film, she had just been a bit of a predator. She would go out and just have... no strings attached sex, and that was pretty much all she was interested in, until she met Smith Jarrett. I can tell you're riveted with this.
But he was the one.
He was the... Well, the thing is, you just don't know, because you don't know what happens in the film.
Now, when the crowd was screaming the names of these highly paid Hollywood stars...
Yeah.
Were they recoiling in horror? Did they actually go up and meet any of them?
Yeah, they were loving it.
Really?
Sarah Jessica Parker was loving it. Where I was stood, there's the pub. Do you know the pub next door to the Odeon, Leicester Square?
I do, yeah.
So they're packed out in this pub, and they've had a few white wines, I think, a lot of these women.
Spritzers.
It's more than spritzers. I think they weren't watering down the wine because they were really shrieking, and,
Yeah.
and they were going... I'm not going to do it, but it was just quite fishwivey, and they were like, "Scream her name now!"
It sounds hideous.
And I know, and then they would scream the name of whoever it was, and then Sarah Jessica Parker, for instance, would look at them and wave, and then they'd go. It was just hilarious.
I mean,
it really
I know Tom
was.
Cruise puts up with that, but he gets paid $30-40 million a movie.
I mean, I think it must be incredibly flattering to have 2,000 people chanting your name.
Oh, no,
and
it must be
wanting you to
hell
come
on...
over.
It must be living hell.
But if you're like these women who probably do relish in that, I mean, you're not a famous movie star, and you
How dare you? I am too.
Well, you like to keep yourself a bit more low key, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And these
I
women
like to keep
don't.
it real.
Exactly. So these are a little bit different. I spoke to Kim Cattrall next, who plays Samantha. We've got time to hear.
Well, can I go to the travel first, and then we'll come back? It's like teasing across a break. Hey, this show is beginning to sound professional now, right? It's 9:45. LBC Travel with Helen Austin.
Thank you. Well, I'm now going to report that the M20 is closed.
Parkinson has just been to see the new Terminator movie.
Sex and the City.
Oh yeah, that's right, Sex and the City. Yeah. And you were talking to one of those women.
Yes, it's the sort of second most famous one, Kim Cattrall, who plays Samantha, the man-eater, and she's lived in London. She's done a play here and loves it. And so this was the world premiere in London tonight, even though the film is actually set in New York, and they say that New York's like the fifth character, because it plays such a part.
How weird! Why here then?
Weirdly, I don't know, and they wouldn't really refer to it. We were all asking why have the world premiere here, and they were saying that they are going to be doing something at Radio City in New York, but it's not going to be till later down the line. London gets the first offering, which is brilliant, and Kim Cattrall seemed to be the only person out of all of them that liked that.
I am so thrilled. When I found out that we were not going to be in New York, I was sad, and then when I found it was going to be London, I was ecstatic. So this is my sort of home away from home. I love New York, I live there, but I'm having this amazing love affair with the UK.
And it seems that London loves you.
Oh, it's really overwhelming. It is. I didn't know what to expect. I knew people were coming because they had barricades, but I thought, how many people? And then I heard some girls were dressing up, which, as the characters, I thought that was such fun.
Now, Kim, you were pretty adamant that you wanted to wait to do this movie. Do you think it's been worth it?
You know, I think that in the 4 years we got the script, we got the budget. I think it was enough time away. It feels right.
Is it? Have I completely missed the significance of this series? Is it like the modern day Dallas, or have I got that wrong?
Not really, no, because it's not. No, it's not like the modern day Dallas, because it just follows these four women and their behaviour in New York. It started off, this woman called Candice Bergen, who used to do a column in the New York Times, and she would write about her life as a New York socialite in New York, single, the adventures that she would have with men, and her friends, things they would gossip about, and the bitchiness that went on within the fashion scene, because it's very much based about the fashion scene in New York.
Right.
And someone picked it up, turned it into a series, and it just became this flyaway success. And I know it does sound like, why would you want to watch that? But it is, it's really funny. It's really, really funny, and you get attached to the characters.
Right.
I can't really describe. I love it because I love fashion as well. So for me to watch...
So do I. I mean, just look at me. You can tell straight away, yeah.
You made a real effort tonight, haven't you?
So, sadly, yes. It's Dress Up Monday.
It's Sex and the City Day.
Yeah, that's right.
You tried, didn't you?
I like to make an effort, yeah.
Well...
Good job it's radio, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
The abuse I get on my own show, can you believe it?
You look lovely. But no, I mean, I love it for the fashion, and I love it for the characters.
Right.
I mean, well, I spoke to all of the characters. The other two are a little bit boring. This is Kristin Davis. She plays Charlotte.
Well, we're here in London in the most beautiful weather with the most beautiful bunch of fans ever. Yeah. They're adorable, they're chanting, it's more than we could have ever expected.
Oh, you're so fabulous.
She's Charlotte, and she's like the prissy, prim and proper one.
Right.
Who never talks about sex. So you've got Samantha, who talks about sex all the time. You've got Charlotte, who won't mention it, and she won't use certain words. And then there's Cynthia, who plays Cynthia Nixon plays Miranda, who's the sort of like straight-laced lawyer one, who's the sort of the older sister of the gang and always has the sensible advice until things go wrong for her. And I spoke to Cynthia, who turned up with her girlfriend. So she's a lesbian, and her girlfriend actually looks like Bradley off EastEnders.
Still, I'm lost.
Okay, you don't watch. Bradley Browning off EastEnders, he's the guy with ginger hair, played by Charlie Clements.
Wait a minute. Her girlfriend looks like a bloke.
Yeah, she was wearing like a guy suit.
Now this is all beginning to make sense.
It all fits into place.
Shrugging his shoulders.
Doesn't it?
I've got no idea what's going on.
It's just a different world for you.
Yeah, it is, yes. Show business. I don't like it. It doesn't sit well with me. I'd rather not go there, girlfriend.
Showbiz. Well, you'd have hated it tonight. You'd have absolutely hated it.
All of that, when you're on the red carpet and people are screaming in your face and presumably you're being jostled by Swedish camera crews and isn't that demeaning for a person of your stature?
Also, it was demeaning, but it's. I'll tell you what I hate about these things is the way they call it a press pen.
Yes.
Like, we're cattle. I don't. That's annoying, but it's actually quite a good laugh, and you end up having a bit of fun with the other journalists, and you can take the mickey out of what certain people are wearing, and the atmosphere. It was a really nice night tonight. I hate it when it's raining and it's cold and it's wet, but tonight it was a lovely evening, great atmosphere, loads of other people there.
Did you see the film again?
No, because I thought I'd come back and tell you about the premiere.
Or because you weren't invited.
No, I was actually.
Oh, you were invited. Like I said, of course you were.
I was invited. They said to me, do you want to see it on Friday night or do you want to see it on Monday at the actual premiere?
Yeah.
And because I love it so much, I said I'd like to see it on Friday night because I'd like to see it before anyone else.
Right, they didn't ask me whether I wanted to see it on Friday or Monday.
Well, no wonder with your attitude.
Yeah,
no
quite
wonder.
right too.
You see?
Okay, so any more tales?
Well, we've got some people that were quite funny. Marty McCutcheon, you know Marty McCutcheon?
Oh, I know the name.
Tiffany in EastEnders.
Oh, God.
Went out to try and make a name for herself in LA, but it didn't quite work.
Ha ha.
It was one of those.
A horrible thing to say, but that's what everybody thought.
Yeah, I know. And she really, I think she said, I don't know whether this is true or not, but one of the quotes that came from her when she was in LA is that they think I'm the next J-Lo. Which clearly didn't quite happen. Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah. She didn't have the butt for it.
Well, she has, actually. That's a strange thing.
Well, like I said.
I think she was there angling to get a part in if they make an next movie, which I don't. I hope they don't. But she does think that she's a real Sex and the City girl.
My God, it's my Bible. I absolutely love the DVDs. Whenever I've been down, whenever I've had a trauma in my life romantically, that is what I go to. And I'm so excited to see this film. This is a film that everyone within the industry that's female cannot wait to see.
And it seems that everyone's made such an effort with their outfits tonight.
You can't let Carrie Bradshaw down, do you know what I mean? You've got to do your bit. She's one of those characters where you feel like you want to dress up, you want to look your best for her, like you would for a guy or one of your best gay friends. You want to do the same for something like this.
It's her Bible. Christians all over the world are in shock. Even the Pope is holding his head in his hands.
Well, I don't know what to say to that, really, because I'm pretty much the same.
Right.
I do love it.
Okay, then.
There was one guy there.
One bloke?
Yeah, pretty much. There was lots and lots of girls, and they were all very well dressed, actually, for a premiere. You often see some really dodgy numbers, but it was really good tonight. Everyone was trying to impress.
Yeah, made an effort.
And there was lots of gay guys there. And then the rapper Nelly. Have you heard of him?
Nelly?
Nelly the rapper sang It's Getting Hot
I've heard
in
of
Here.
Nelly the Elephant.
You know Nelly the rapper?
Well, I've heard the name, and I only remember it because it's amusing that a guy who presumably puts on a macho face has called himself Nelly.
Yeah, and then
Does he know what that means over here?
Yeah, you Nelly. I think he felt a little bit out of place tonight. He was pretty much one of the only guys there, and he does put on, and he turned up onto the red carpet with this huge entourage of, you know how the rap stars have their entourage of people wearing various different tracksuit tops and baggy tracksuit bottoms and trainers, and they stuck out like a sore thumb, to be honest. And I said to him, what are you actually doing here?
They kind of tricked me. They said, you want to go see a movie tonight? I was chilling in my room. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. They said it'd be nice and low-key, nobody will be around, and I pull up here.
Most guys, don't want to admit that they like Sex and the City. How do you feel about it?
It's alright to me, man. I mean, hey, listen, where else can you come and see what about good 30,000 females in one place. I'm like, what guy? I figure all of them should be here tonight. You never know.
Was there any shooting at the screen while the movie was going on?
No.
If so, I blame Nelly.
Nelly, with his plaster on his face. Do you remember when he used to wear a little plaster on his face?
I've got no idea what you're talking about, I'm
afraid. He used to wear a plaster on his face.
Well, maybe he had an accident.
No, well, I don't think he did. I think it was just like a fashion statement.
Oh, we got that off Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On his nose.
And his nose and his fingers and, other unmentionable places that came out in court, but we don't want to mention that, talk about that in any way.
No, we won't be mentioning that. So that was Sex and the City. There was lots of other people there. It was I particularly enjoyed it because I'm such a fan.
Are you?
Yes. You never guess, could you? And then across the road, just quickly, I went, which is why I was a little bit late getting back, I decided to go to the LK Today Fashion Awards.
The what?
The Lorraine Kelly, the LK Today, Lorraine Kelly's programme on a weekday morning.
Lorraine Kelly's on TV?
Yes. After GMTV, and it was the LK Today Fashion Awards. And Kelly Osbourne...
The excitement never starts.
Kelly Osbourne, it was terrible.
God, Kelly Osbourne was at a fashion event.
She was voted best dressed celebrity.
Oh, well, God, what the competition must have been like, I can't imagine.
The competition was Fern Cotton, Alexa Chung, who's on T4, and Lily Allen.
See, I wouldn't recognise any of these people if they hit me in the face.
But Kelly Osbourne had just come from the Sony Awards.
Right.
The Radio Sony Awards, where her show, which I can't quite believe, was nominated for a Sony Award.
She has a show?
She has a show on a different radio station.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, then, on that subject, I rest my face.
Exactly. Next time I'll try and think, I'll come back when I've got something that maybe is a little bit more you.
That's all right. It's always a pleasure to talk and, indeed, spar.
Yeah.
So come back with as much girly nonsense as you like.
Yeah. We could go on all night, couldn't we?
Oh, I know. Unfortunately, Clive's coming in just about a minute or so's time.
Oh,
so what have we got coming up this week? Anything? What's next?
Well, I've got to interview all of the girls, the Sex and the City girls, again on Wednesday.
What else have you got?
I've got Casey Affleck, who's Ben Affleck's brother, about a film called Gone Baby Gone. Which,
Casey Affleck, he was in the shooting of
yes,
what's it? Yeah, he was very good.
Assassination of Jesse James
by
with
the
Brad
coward. What's his name?
It's brilliant, that film.
It's very good. Very slow, but it makes a plane journey go a little bit faster, which is what I saw.
Did you watch it on a plane?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Joe. Cheers, my dear.
Thank you.
What have we talked about tonight, then, eh?
Lots of stuff. We talked about theatre, marriage, Rene and Renata, Bezzo and Bazina. 13-year-olds buying prostitutes on his dad's credit card. Having children ruins your life. The 30-foot cow, the 50-metre horse, Brian Sewell, driving, what annoys cyclists, chihuahuas, and...
Can you believe they're right out of time? This is LBC 97.3. Clive's next.